Alright guys, so let's go ahead and talk about it. I don't know if you watched my last video, but this was like a rabbit hole. You know, sometimes you end up stumbling upon a rabbit hole when you ain't even trying to stumble upon it, right? And I'm talking about drug testing, Vada testing. Okay, I'm gonna do some research while I am actually talking about this. I'm looking at my computer right now. I'm telling you, I said it in the last video. I'll say it in this one too. I'm going to get updated equipment to make sure y'all see what I'm looking at. But we're going to talk about the fact that this is something that really went under the radar. Julian Williams requires challengers to do 90 days of Vada testing, right? When he became champ at 154, when he beat Jarrett Hurd, you know what I'm saying? Basically, you're the A side, right? So which means you have power to put certain things in the contract and put certain stipulations in the contract that you wouldn't be able to put in as a challenger, or at the same time leave certain things out that you wouldn't be able to leave out as a challenger. And one of those things is Vada testing, random drug testing. So this is a big deal to me because a lot of these things are reported because the general consensus on Vada is that we do believe, I believe if you are at the very least ranked top 5, you have to undergo Vada testing when you're with PBC, but I do not believe that is the case. Vada testing is still voluntary. I guess that's why they're called voluntary. Vada, excuse me, voluntary anti-doping association. So from everything I'm looking up right now, there's nothing specific that pops up that I can tell you, but there's a reason why it's called Vada, right? And the only reason, like, I know this, I understand Vada is not something that is required, right? But you would think, at the very least, if you're top 5 in a major sports organization, you know, you would be drug tested by the, you know, essentially one of the best, you know, drug testing associations there is. But no, there's a reason why there's a V in front of that. You know what I'm saying? It's voluntary. So the fact that Julian Williams, J-Rock Williams, put, you have to do Vada testing 90 days. Random drug testing 90 days. So it's at least 90 days. So you have to do at least 90 days. That's at least 3 months. And his tweet, and this is an old article. I'm reporting old news, but this is something I didn't even know I missed. And it could end up, you know, it could fuel some conspiracies. You know what I'm saying? That's not what I'm about, but let's get back to the point. His tweet was just a friendly reminder for my future opponents. I will be requesting at least 90 days random blood testing by Vada testing. Won't be cycling off on me. Now we're gonna find out who's really the best in the 154 division. All right, and this happened. This happened before that tweet. This whole article that I'm reading is on badlefthook.com. This is all coming before Jarrett Hurd withdrawed from the actual fight. Now everyone seems to try and call Jarrett Hurd a weight bully. They've been waiting for him to go up in weight. You know, a lot of people wondered how he made that weight cut. And when a lot of people see, you know, random blood testing or drug testing or doping, they think of maybe like a Big Baby Miller situation where they're taking HGH, all the crazy stuff. But I'm like, a simple diuretic can do the job if you want to try lose a little weight, but that's not allowed. You heard me? You invited. But if you don't got Vada 90-day random drug testing, you don't got to worry about taking a diuretic to help cut weight. You know what I'm saying? This poses the question: 1, do you think the weight cut was really killing Jarrett Hurd? Excuse me, was it really taking a toll on his body, and he felt like it was only a matter of time? He might as well do it now. Or do you think the fact that Julian J-Rock Williams implemented a 90-day random blood testing in all of his championship fights, and maybe he want to be able to use something that helped him cut down to a weight that seems, you know, when you look at his frame and how big he is, almost, you know, you wonder. But like I said, Jarrett Hurd, he's my favorite fighter to this day. So me personally, I don't believe it. I don't think so. I think it just, at the end of the day, Hurd's getting older. He took an L that he didn't expect. And, you know, it was only a matter of time before he moved up. And, you know what I'm saying, might as well be that'd be the right, because you're going to have to vacate the belt anyways if you move up, right? So it's like, hey, I took the L, I might as well move up now. I don't got the belt no more, why not? But some may say, you know, differently. So I want to know what y'all think on this. What do you think of this entire situation? And I also want to tell you now, I want to talk about this too. What do y'all think about the fact that drug testing in boxing isn't as strict as, say, an MMA? Or even, you know what I'm saying, if you want to be specific with it, obviously, because, you know, there's probably like 3 major organizations on the mainstream that most know about. Maybe 1, maybe 4. You know, obviously number 1 is UFC, 2 Bellator, 3 1 championship, and then that 4th, I guess, you can say PFL. But you know, if we're gonna talk about the highest standards, which is UFC, and I would think the highest standards of boxing would be championship level boxing, whether it be PBC, Top Rank, Golden Boy Promotions, DAZN, Frank Warren Promotions, whoever it may be under. Those are the highest level, you know what I'm saying, promotional companies in boxing. You know, Frank Warren Promotion maybe not so much, but definitely Matchroom Boxing, definitely Golden Boy Promotions, definitely Top Rank, definitely PBC. So with that being said, you would think at the very least when you get similar to the UFC, how they have I think it's when you get in the top 10 or top 5, they begin doing random drug testing. I feel like it should be the same for boxing. In the highest level promotions, when you get that top 5, you have to have Vada random drug testing. But apparently, apparently this is something that's known, right? I've known this, but at the same time, you want to believe that when you're seeing championship level fights on these major promotional companies, Vada testing is always implemented, but that is not the case, right? Or even to the point, let me say this, Vada testing may be implemented, but it may not be random blood testing. See? It may be random urine testing. Maybe just tests in general where they have specific dates for the urine and blood testing, right? There's so many different nuances to it, you know what I'm saying? It's not just, oh, we enrolled in Vada, so that means we're clean, because that doesn't necessarily mean it either. Is similar like with other sports organizations. For the most part, if it's not random testing, then these athletes, they know when it's going to happen, so they know when not to cycle. That's why a lot of people say when, you know, like when Big Baby got caught, they said he just had a dirty cycle, because like, you know, when you're going to be tested, how could you got caught? And if you hear his explanation, it makes sense. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna do another, part to this, talk a little bit more about it. It depends on how y'all react to it. I want to know what you guys think about drug testing in general when it comes to the sport of boxing. How clean do you really think boxing is? We don't talk about this enough in boxing. We go up in arms when we see someone test dirty, but it's like, why do we get so upset when someone tests dirty when, for the most part, probably, I'm not gonna say a specific percentage, but I think a high percentage is most likely doing something that you wouldn't necessarily say is clean, right? And I'm just being 100. And a lot of y'all might come and try to be like, oh, what do you know? You don't know nothing you're saying, da-da-da-da. I'm just being real. Everything I'm saying is being real. Now, when I'm talking about random blood testing, random urine testing, whether or not you're just enrolled in Vada, the differences between those, I'm not going into explanation, or I'm not going into details right now about that. If I feel like I want to later, I may do that, but those are facts, all right? You can when you're the A side, man, in boxing, you can put so much shit in that contract that you can demand the B side to do. One of the perfect examples of that is when Floyd and Manny were trying to fight, and why their fight got delayed so long, because Floyd was putting so many stipulations in the contract that Manny had to abide by. Manny was just like, man, fuck this. I'm like, that's how it works in boxing. You know what I'm saying? Boxing works the same way. It's kind of like the real world, right? Got your high class, you got the middle class, you got the lower class, you got your dirt poor, then you got the 1%. If you in that 1%, you can tell the wealthy, the class under you, whatever the fuck you want, because you got more money. It don't matter. That's the same way boxing works. Whoever generates more money, they can put whatever they want in that contract. And we as people will never know, but we assume that there's always drug testing every time they're fighting. Some people are gonna come at me and say, when you're in the WBC, when you're in the WC, I think when you get in the top 10, I believe, or top 15, I believe it's the top 10 though, you have to enroll in Vada. When you get ranked by the WBC top 10, you have to enroll in Vada, right? Obviously, you have to enroll in Vada. That doesn't mean that it's random testing. Let me look this up, because I feel like people probably like, man, you don't know what you talk about. I've heard all this, I heard it. This. I probably won't even get no information. It's hard, man. It's hard. All about Vada, right? Or Vada, some would say. I'm on VadaTesting.org. So, currently, few athletic commissions perform drug testing for performance in active substance. When conducting testing is not comprehensive, rarely unannounced, and not a deterrent, sports regulators do not have the manpower, time, and funds to go thoroughly carry out the task. Vada will be an opportunity for athletes to demonstrate their commitment to clean sport. Alright, so professional athletes will volunteer to be subjected to unannounced testing at any time during the 8 weeks prior to a scheduled fight as an Olympic program. An agreement to participate will require fighters to officially inform us of their daily whereabouts so they can be tested per the program. Athletes will agree that all the results are immediately released to the appropriate adjudicating commission overseeing their upcoming contest. Vada has arranged for a World Anti-Doping Agency approved laboratory to conduct the test in an internationally recognized anti-doping group to collect the specimens and maintain a chain of custody. So I'm not gonna go into really more of this. So one thing that I took from this that I was wrong about is I said, okay, if you enroll in Vada, then that means it is not random drug testing. You know what is going to happen. Now, I was right and I was wrong about it because it says here it's unannounced testing, but at the same time, you know when you're going to be tested during the 8 weeks prior. So you know 2 months out you're going to be tested by Vada. So if you know when your fight date is, maybe 4 or 5 months, 3 months, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's think about Tyson Fury, right? Tyson Fury knew his fight was going to happen in February 2020. If you have that much of a heads up and you do your cycle right, with all the money some of these top fighters have, they will be clean by the time Vada starts their unannounced testing at 8 weeks prior to it. That's why it's funny. It's unannounced testing, but really it's announced. We're letting you know, hey, 2 months prior to the fight, we're gonna test you. So it's like it's unannounced, but it's not. While Julian Williams, he implemented an extra month. So that makes it harder for someone who's going to fight Julian Williams to want to even try something, because for the most part, most fights, you know what I'm saying, they're announced maybe 4 months in advance, maybe 5 months at the max, maybe 3 months. So it's like what he's implementing, it makes it harder for someone to, it's still not random, is random, but let me know y'all opinion on this. I'm not gonna ramble on this too long, man. I already made this shit too long. It's 13 minutes. I ain't trying to talk like that. Thinking about I may make a part 2 about this, depending on, what y'all think. But I feel like we don't talk about this enough in boxing. We're gonna talk about it when somebody we don't like get popped, right? And then we just try to figure out what's the B sample. What did they do? When in reality, it's like, what did they all do? Nah, I'm just playing with y'all. As always, stay positive, stay up. Mr. Positivity is here, man. Fluence all day. The way you see me